talk about sense. So I'm gonna show my sense and then I'm gonna go into depth about the different types of senses and all that other stuff. I definitely would recommend watching the whole thing. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two. But here, let me go ahead and show my sense first. I play on 5 dead zone, 1 out of threshold, 0 response curve, max yall pitch. How this turned off. And 280 ADS yall pitch, all that turned off, and aim assist on. Muscle memory, you wanna pretty much just be playing on these 4 right here, and then this personal preference. Most important thing to keep in mind when talking about sense is it's all about personal preference and what feels good to the player. However, it's also very important to understand that certain senses have disadvantages and advantages. Like a classic player can be able to make finer adjustments than a linear player just because of ramp up time, and you know, there's certain opportunities where one sense would shine over the other, pretty much. So first talking about dead zone, I would recommend keeping it between 2 to 6. If you have anything higher than 6 and you still have stick drift, I would recommend just getting a new controller. It's really just hurting you if you still have stick drift above 6. If going below 2 dead zone, if you're not playing on a low ADS and yall pitch, the stick drift is very hurting below 2, so stay between that range. And that's for linear, because there's also a different range for classic. But let's go ahead and talk about linear first, or outer threshold, before we go into the difference between the response curves. The outer threshold, I would recommend this at 1. Putting this higher, this is your right analog stick, this circle. This is your dead zone, the normal one, and then this is the outer threshold. So as you see here, it's gonna be way easier to go to 500. Once I hit here, that's gonna be 500, and then all this is also 500. So this is pretty much unplayable area, and I would not recommend this, because although this is pretty much the highest sense you could go and you could turn quickly, it really hurts your aim. People on 1 or 2 is definitely going to be way better and more consistent than a person playing on just to be able to turn quicker. Response curve, I would choose between 0 and 10. I would highly recommend being either 0 or 10. If you're going to be playing between here, it's very fine and personal tuning, and it can be very hard to find a sense. Anything above 10, you're just hurting yourself. It's very sticky, so either classic or linear, I definitely would recommend. Let's go ahead and talk about linear first. So if you can either be playing, you know, get that muscle memory and high yall pitch speed, or you can, what most players would find more comfortable, playing on lower ADS and pitch speed, so they could have that better tracking. As you can see, I could track way better than if it was higher, because that, you know, going from left to right on the analog stick is gonna jump the values up. Excuse me. So if you're playing on a low hip fire speeds, I would recommend turning these up so you could be able to turn quickly while still having the ability to track up close and have that good tracking. However, I play on 500 just for the muscle memory, and this thing just adds up. Keep that in mind. This thing just adds up. So if I have 380 and that, it's no, that thing is loud. So right here is my yaw pitch speed, right? Let's say it's from 0 to 385. Once it hits this marker, it's gonna add the 250, and it's pretty much only gonna go up to 500. Adding this up to the 500 is not gonna do anything to it. The highest you could go is 500 yaw pitch speed. Linear, there's two routes ADS wise. Depending on which route you go, it's gonna change the dead zone, which is important to keep in mind. So if you're playing like on Jim Burton sense, or what people tend to use, which is low sense, like what, 140, 150, sure. The two dead zone, right? That means, as you see there, I have stick drift. However, when you're playing on lower senses, so having this lower ADS and yaw pitch, as you can see, the stick drift isn't really that crucial, and I'm still able to track people, just because the play area of my sense, this from here, the dead zone to the outer, all this is from 0 to 144, right, where I have it. So the stick drift is very minimal, although if I play it on high sense, as you can see, if I aim, the stick drift is going to be way more harder. And that's just because it's like the stick drift moves around here, right? And this is a multiplier, so like 0 to 10 and then all the way to 500 here, as opposed to low settings, which is 0 to like 5 and then all the way up to 183. It's having the low dead zone on small ADS pitch and yaw speed on linear is not that detrimental. However, I play on medium with high sense. I think going anything above like 300 some is, you're really just hurting your aim on linear. I play on 280 and 280 again on 2 dead zone. What do you call it? The stick drift can hurt my aim very, very hard. That's why I have it at 5 dead zone, just so I could control the aim way better. And that stick drift won't, like, I won't be battling the stick drift pretty much. You do not want to battle your stick drift. What are we talking about? Yeah, so on linear, that's pretty much it. This thing, ADS turning extra, yaw, and pitch, personal preference. I would recommend just keeping this off. It's kind of the same with this. I would turn these off. They're just delays, and they're not good for your muscle memory. Yeah, so just a little recap for the linear. Low sense, if you're playing on low ADS, having the low dead zone doesn't really matter. However, if you're playing on medium to high, keep this between 4 and 6 dead zone. Now, the second one, I'm not going to be going over right here because it's very fine tuning. Again, anything up here, don't do it. So 10, classic. You want to be on either 5 or to 0 dead zone, as you can see. If I have 0, and I have a pretty medium high sense on the ADS, I could still make those small adjustments. It's not really detrimental when you're having that 0 dead zone on classic, just because the ramp up time and how it ramps up between the sense, it's not that heavy. So I'm able to make that small adjustments and then it goes all the way up, right? It kind of goes the same with yaw pitch speed and how I went over with linear. Or now if you have this lower, might want to have this all the way higher. Something that you will find though is classic players, they're more higher on the ADS than y'all. That's just because of tracking up close. It can be very slow because of that ramp up time. So the main difference between the linear and the classic players, a linear player is going to be way more consistent up close, and a classic player is going to be way more consistent shooting the longer ranges. Again, there's like certain things that you could do to counteract both. Playing on jump burdens, again, having that low ADS, you're able to beam up close and up far. However, tracking on the low ADS is not good. It's very hard to do it. So that's why you see him pretty much hit fire a lot of times. I play here, I don't know if I already said, because just tracking when I'm slide jumping and stuff like that. Let's see, we already went over dead zone. Alright, threshold, response curve. Yeah. Keep these at 0, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, if you have trouble finding a sense, you could go ahead and... Oh, what is that noise? Thank you. Okay, you can go ahead and comment below. I'll help you out. You just gotta keep in mind on what play style and how you want to play the game. Alright, sorry if I sounded raspy and I'm sick right now, so